Hello, my name is Mark and this is a video about noun phrases in English. It's DIY because you really can do it yourself, and one of the aims of this video is to give you tools to do a little bit more in your reading and in your writing. By the end of the video, I hope you'll have a better understanding of what a noun phrase is, why noun phrases are important, particularly in academic texts, and I hope that you'll also gain a better understanding of how noun phrases are constructed, which should help both with your reading and your writing. There will be a few opportunities within this video for you to pause and complete a task, and you can either do that while watching the video, or you can complete the online interactive tasks that I will link to below the video. Okay, so let's start with an image. Have you ever seen this sentence before? And whether you have or you haven't, do you notice anything special about this sentence? The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Feel free to pause if you need more thinking time. Well, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog is a famous sentence in English because it contains every letter of the alphabet. So some people might encounter this sentence when they're learning how to type or how to touch type, because it's a way of covering every letter on the keyboard. Now, simple sentence maybe. If I ask you to identify the two important nouns in this sentence, I think probably most people can do this. So two nouns in this sentence are fox and dog. A fox jumps over a dog. But we're not just looking at nouns today, we're looking at noun phrases. So this sentence contains two nouns, yes, but it also contains two noun phrases. And the two noun phrases are the quick brown fox and the lazy dog. So you see from this example that a noun phrase is a phrase that combines a noun and possibly some other words. So in both of these examples, the fox, the dog, we have an article or a determiner, so that's the, and we have adjectives, quick brown for fox and lazy for dog. So we have a 4-word noun phrase and a 3-word noun phrase. Great. So let's move on to a different context. And there's a text that some of my students have read in the last couple of weeks by Jamie Beckland. It's about 9 years old actually. The article was published on Mashable online, and it's called "The End of Demographics: How Marketeers Are Going Deeper with Personal Data." Okay, so it's not an especially academic article, but it is being read at the moment by some university students that I teach, and you can access this article in full and freely online. But I just want to draw your attention to something in the first 2 paragraphs, and I could pick any paragraphs and we'd probably see the same thing. Okay, this is the first paragraph of the text. Okay, notice that I've highlighted this using different colors. I've used yellow, green and cyan. You can pause if you want to read it. In the second paragraph, same again. I've introduced a new color here. There's gray as well. So a little task for you to do here. You can pause the video and you can always go back and look at the previous paragraph as well. But can you guess what my different colors mean? Pause the video now and see if you can work out what each color means. So I'll say more about the yellow in a moment. But yellow is noun phrases. The cyan color is adverbials, also in order to. Green is verb phrases, and light grey is adjectives, although yeah, just an adjective here being used with the verb was. Okay. What you'll notice, I think, straight away with both of these paragraphs is that they are predominantly yellow, right? A majority of words in these paragraphs I've highlighted in yellow. And actually, the parts of the paragraph that I've highlighted in yellow are noun phrases, marketers, a temple that needs to be torn down, demographics, the target consumer, emerging interest graphs from social networks, behavioral data from search outlets, life cycle forecasting, much better ways of targeting potential customers. All of these are noun phrases, and you'll see that in a lot of texts where we find the packing of information and lots of detail packed into a limited word limit, which is fairly typical in academic writing, but also in lots of types of journalism where writers are working to a deadline, we see actually the verbs are not doing as much work as the nouns, right? The verbs actually are fairly familiar here. Have built, have defined, have bought, was to aggregate. It's a more complex verb phrase, but still convince, was, had to buy. I think there's nothing particularly challenging in the use of the verbs here. But where we might have a bit more difficulty understanding this text is in the noun phrases. So I have a task for you now, and what I've done is I've taken the noun phrases out of those two paragraphs, and I'd just like you to have a look at them, and in each case, so with each noun phrase, can you identify the head noun? Okay, so A, B, C, and D are really easy because there's only one noun, so it is the head noun. But in E, we have a three-word noun phrase. Okay, that entire system. So one of those words is the head noun, that entire system. Okay, to give you a little example, let's just go back to the title of the article, The End of Demographics. That noun phrase, the end of demographics, the head noun there is end. Okay, you might think, oh, this article is about demographics. Yeah, maybe, but it's specifically about the end of demographics. End is the head noun in that noun phrase. And when we go back to our task, in each of these noun phrases, the head noun will be the noun that the sentence is about, if you like. So you can go back to the article and look at it in context in order to make your decision. Okay, so I'm going to show you 3 screens. You can pause them and do the exercise, or you can pause the video now and go to the online exercise where you can highlight what you think are the head nouns in each case. Okay, so part 1, A to K. Part 2, L to R. And part 3, S to V. So you've done the exercise, and now I'd just like to give you the answers. So I will show you 3 slides, or 2 slides, and read through. So the head nouns were, okay, marketers, consumers, fragmentation, demographics, system, forecasting, consumer, message, eyeballs, classification, and then hopefully maybe you had a bit of a surprise when you got to K, because from A to J we had seen the head noun in each of these noun phrases was the final word in the phrase. But actually, the head noun is not always the final word in the phrase. And in K, it's about bucketing. It's about putting people into categories. So the head noun there is bucketing. Bit of a strange one. Okay. And as we continue from L, we've got pace, goal, group, year, rise, data, graphs, temple, rise, characteristics, and ways. Okay. If you have any questions about any of those answers, by all means, come back to me with your questions. But what we've seen from those examples, I think we can learn quite a lot actually just from those simple examples of how noun phrases are constructed. And basically we add information to a noun in two ways. We do it by pre-modification, that means putting words before the head noun, or we use post-modification, which means putting the information after the head noun. And if we go back through our answers here, from E to J, we've got examples of information being added before the head noun. And then after that point, information and details are always added after the noun. And of course, we've got lots of examples where we've got details added before and after the noun. So our last example there, much better ways of targeting potential customers. We've got an adjective before, and we've got something called a prepositional phrase after. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about pre-modification, and then we'll talk about post-modification. So from our examples, we can see the use of determiners as words like a and the, but also these and those and so on. We have adjectives, so we can see in our examples the entire system, possible eyeballs, generational classification. And then we see something that you find this a lot in academic texts, but we've got some nice examples here. This is where we use a noun to pre-modify another noun. Okay, so it looks like we're seeing two nouns together. One of them is behaving like an adjective. So life cycle forecasting, life cycle is pre-modifying the forecasting. We've got something about a consumer, and it's a target consumer, and advertising, message. So the head nouns in those phrases are message, consumer, and forecasting. But the type of forecasting, the type of consumer, the type of message is explained actually with another noun. Okay. In terms of post-modification, you may have noticed that post-modification tends to be a bit longer. Pre-modification tends to be one word, or one determiner, one adjective. In our very first example today, we had two adjectives: quick, brown, fox, and a determiner. But actually, post-modification tends to be much longer. And I'm sure in your reading, you're going to find some examples of really nice long noun phrases of up to like 20, 25 words, where the head noun might be the second or third word in the phrase. So post-modification can be quite long. We've got examples of post-modification through relative clauses, like the year that someone was born. And we've got examples of prepositional phrases, so the pace of change, data from search outlets. And in these cases, you'll notice that the head noun is the noun that comes before the preposition, so pace and data. Okay, now, that's all we're going to do for now. That's it. There are a few things that you can do as a follow-up. As I've said, this is DIY English, so you need to do it yourself. There is one more type of post-modification that you will encounter and that we can discuss another time. But what I'd like you to do is just pay attention to noun phrases in your reading. Maybe what's the longest noun phrase that you can find? Get in touch with me with the longest noun phrase you can find, and we'll see who comes up with the longest. Also in your reading, when you encounter a difficult sentence, can you break it down into noun phrases and verb phrases and maybe adverbials. What are the head nouns in each noun phrase? Knowing how the phrases are constructed should help you to understand the sentence, and going through that exercise will also help you to construct your own complex noun phrases and complex sentences. And I think that's another really important aspect here of the reading to write process. When you're reading, you should be identifying noun phrases that are going to be useful to you in your own writing. Okay, so I've got an example of that of my own. I want to write about something I've done in my work recently, and it's about how students connect to the kind of environment of their universities and the surrounding area, and kind of what it looks like, what it feels like. That might be that might include a kind of the local geography, architecture, the kind of spaces that students walk around in. And I have done some reading recently where I found a writer using the term visual culture, a university's visual culture, and it struck me that is the perfect noun phrase for what I want to say. And so I hope you treat noun phrases in your reading in the same way. Okay, so there's something you want to express in your writing. If you do the right kind of reading, you'll see what language other people use to talk about that idea or that concept, and you can use it too. Okay, thank you very much for your attention, and if you have any questions, then you know where to find me. Okay, you take care. Bye bye.